Welcome to today's ceremony as the men and women of the 138th Fighter Wing recognize the promotion of Lieutenant Colonel Susan Newton to Colonel, and as we honor the change of command for the 138th Mission Support Group from Colonel James Cheatham to Colonel Susan Newton. The presiding officer, Colonel Bradley D. Ruttman, 138th Fighter Wing Commander, sends a warm welcome to all of you. Your presence here today is truly appreciated. Before we begin, I would like to offer a special welcome to all of our distinguished guests, family, and friends. Please hold all applause until introductions are completed. Please welcome Lieutenant Colonel Newton's family, her husband, Lieutenant Colonel David Smack Newton, and sons, Zach and Jake. Please also welcome Colonel Cheatham's family, his wife Samantha, and his sons Jude and Jacob Cheatham. Please also welcome our distinguished visitors. Brigadier General Michael Meeson, Assistant Adjutant General, Oklahoma National Guard. Chief Master Sergeant Dennis DiPiazzo, Command Chief, Oklahoma Air National Guard. Colonel Frank Horton, Deputy Commander, 138th Fighter Wing. Chief Master Sergeant Eric Erler, Command Chief, 138th Fighter Wing. Colonel Robert Griffin, Commander, 138th Medical Group. Colonel Michael Scorsoni, Commander, 138th Operations Group. Colonel Coma Jones, Director of Operations, Joint Force Headquarters, and Representative Derek Hildebrand. Finally, we would like to extend a special welcome to our current and former Air National Guard senior leaders and 138th Fighter Wing leadership, Oklahoma State leaders, and other military and civilian guests who are here today to share in this special occasion. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the arrival of the official party and remain standing for the singing of the national anthem. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. Chaplain Freese will now provide the invocation.
If you will, pray with me. Almighty God, it is a special occasion to stand and recognize that even as athletes are not made great on the field, leaders are not made great the moment of assuming responsibility, but carefully crafted in the corridors of their office, working late nights, in the midst of thrash, of getting feedback, both positive and an opportunity to grow. We recognize at this moment that the opportunity to lead, and to lead well, has never been more important for our military and our nation. I thank you for great leaders that have poured into these individuals and what will shine forward coming as the result of their leadership. I thank you for the airmen that continue to stand by and support on multiple different levels, giving feedback in order to make changes, to grow, and to expand our influence and our impact. God, I thank you for the family members that have been willing to sacrifice and willing to give up time with their dear loved one in order to support the mission. I pray your blessing upon this time, and I pray for courage and strength and internal security to be able to receive feedback of multiple different natures in order to advance the cause of our great nation. We ask your blessing upon our nation and those that are deployed far from home and their families that are holding the line back home. Thank you, God. In your name I pray. Amen.
Thank you, Chaplain. Now it is my pleasure to introduce the presiding officer for today's ceremonies, Colonel Bradley Rutman.
All right, good afternoon, everyone. Thanks for being here today. The weather held off for us, so we're very grateful for that. To the distinguished visitors, thanks for making the trip here. To all the base leadership, fellow chiefs, commanders, spouses, thanks for taking the time out of your day to be here. But most of all, thanks to the families of the folks that are up here on stage, to Sammy and Smack and Sons. Thank you for the support that you give to these folks. They couldn't do their job without you, and you all are the real MVPs. So thanks for everything that you do. So today we have 3 ceremonies kind of all wrapped into one. We have a change of command, we have a promotion, we have a decoration, all of that here today together. And I'll talk very briefly about these 2 so that we can get on with it. But I do want to emphasize the amount of work that actually do as 06s on this base. You think that maybe we sit in our offices and read emails all day and sip coffee, and that does happen. But the amount of work behind the scenes that goes on that these 2 do and that Susan will do, it is a lot. And we were talking earlier today about how nebulous this job actually is. We stand up here and we want to lead and we want to be a great example for everybody that's wearing this uniform on this base, but a lot of times there's no handbook for the job that we have to do. Because it's our job to make sure that you guys are resourced to go out and do the mission. We also have to make sure that each individual group is resourced in their own special way, depending on what their mission is, and ultimately to make sure that we are ready to go whenever the time happens, whenever the flag goes up. So I'll talk a little bit about Coach real quick. To Colonel James Cheatham, we affectionately refer to him as Coach. I'll say a lot more to you in the second ceremony that we have today. But for many years, he was a drill status guardsman and a high school coach. And we joke a lot about how in the country today, some of the best, the most tried and true, battle-tested leaders are high school coaches. Because in general, they don't really get to recruit the players that they have. A lot of the smaller schools, they get a group of individuals to go out and try to win games, and they have to do the best they can with what they got. And that takes a lot of good leadership. And I don't know what your record was, Coach, whenever you were coaching football in high school. I assume it was above 500? Just barely? Okay. But I know that he is a great natural leader, and I'm sure that comes from years and years of coaching high school sports. But if you know Coach pretty well, if you ever watch him clap, he claps like a coach. So if you ever watch him, he'll clap like this. And so Coach, today, thank you so much for your time. In the MSG as the commander, I want to give you a directional coach clap. So thank you, sir. All right, and then for Susan, today is a big day. All right. Not only are you getting promoted, and hopefully you bought something nice for Smack with that. Okay. But you're also making the transition from squadron level leadership to group level leadership, and that transition from operational to group level leadership is a big one, because like I talked about, there's a whole lot of leadership that has to go on, and that leadership is more, it's less defined than you've ever had to experience. I talk a lot about the fact that whenever you're a tactical leader, whenever you're a shop chief, whenever you're a flight commander, whatever that is, a lot of times you can accomplish a lot because your sphere of responsibility is the same as your sphere of authority. So you can get the job done because you're in charge of all of it. Okay, you can make people do things and all of that. When you move up to operational level leadership, your sphere of responsibility gets a lot bigger, but your sphere of authority is smaller than that. So that difference in between is how well you are able to influence other people. Now, when you get to group level leadership, to strategic level leadership, that difference in where your authority lies and the size of your responsibility is a lot bigger. And you have to be able to influence people on a larger scale. Not only here on this base between the group commanders and the wing commander, but also with the National Guard Bureau, with ACC, and all the other places. So I know that you will do well at that. You are a very, maybe small in stature person, a very large personality. and very good at influencing people. I know you'll do a great job leading the mission support group. And to you all that are standing out there that are watching this ceremony happen, I want to thank you for your service to this base. All right, you are the backbone of getting the warfighter out the door, whether it's keeping base infrastructure running here and at deployed location, whether it's making sure everybody is equipped to get out the door, or whether it's making sure that this base is safe. You all do an outstanding job. I'm very proud of what you do every day, and thank you to the 138th MSG. You have an outstanding couple of leaders up here who are ready to serve you with strength and honor. Thanks.
Thank you, Colonel Rutman. Ladies and gentlemen, please stand for the promotion of Lieutenant Colonel Susan S. Newton. Attention orders. The President of the United States, acting upon the recommendation of the Secretary of the Air Force, has placed special trust and confidence in the patriotism, integrity, and abilities of Lieutenant Colonel Susan S. Newton. In view of these special qualities and her demonstrated potential to serve in the higher grade, Lieutenant Colonel Susan S. Newton is extended federal recognition and promoted to the permanent grade of Colonel, United States Air Force, effective the second day of March 2026, by order of the Secretaries of the Army and Air Force. Signed, Daniel R. Hokanson, General, United States Air Force, Chief, National Guard Bureau. Will Lieutenant Colonel Smack Newton please come forward to help pin on the new rank? Ladies and gentlemen, Colonel Rutman will now re-administer the oath of office to Colonel Newton. Ladies and gentlemen, congratulations to Colonel Susan S. Newton. It is now my distinct honor to recognize a leader whose dedication, leadership, and commitment to the mission and airmen have left an enduring impact on this organization. Please remain standing for the reading and presentation of the Meritorious Service Medal for Colonel James D. Cheatham. Attention to orders. To all who shall see these presents, greetings. This is to certify that the President of the United States, authorized by Executive Order 1969, has awarded the Meritorious Service Medal to Colonel James D. Cheatham for outstanding achievement from 1 August 2024 to 10 April 2026. Colonel James Cheatham distinguished himself by meritorious service to the United States as the commander of the 138th Mission Support Group, Tulsa Air National Guard Base, Oklahoma. Colonel Cheatham commanded 6 squadrons and 442 personnel, providing strategic oversight of a multi-million-dollar infrastructure portfolio while guiding base-wide support operations and maximizing mission impact through execution of a $450,000 budget. With a growth mindset, Colonel Cheatham elevated mission-ready airman training to 96%, achieving number 2 ranking in the National Guard and cementing the group's reputation for readiness. Building on this momentum, Colonel Cheatham championed the delivery of a $5.6 million indoor shooting range, enabling 466 airmen to qualify annually. These efforts accelerated throughput by 54%, strengthening the force generation pipeline to meet theater-level deployment demands. Countering one of the Department of Defense's most pressing challenges, Colonel Cheatham directed the installation's first counter-UAS exercise, coordinating with local airport authorities to address drone incursions. This initiative unified interagency partnerships and elevated the base's security posture. The distinctive accomplishments of Colonel James D. Cheatham reflect credit upon himself and the United States Air Force. The purpose of the change of command is to provide Colonel Cheatham, the outgoing group commander, an opportunity to bid farewell to the men and women of his command, and for them in turn to welcome the incoming commander, Colonel Susan Newton. The change of command ceremony is rooted in military history dating back to the 18th century. At that time, organizational flags were developed with color arrangements and symbols unique to each particular unit. To this flag and its commander, the soldiers of the unit would dedicate their loyalty and trust. When a change of command was to take place, the flag was passed to the individual assuming command. This gesture was accomplished in front of the unit so that all could see and witness their new leader assuming their dutiful position. Those who held the flag also held the soldier's allegiance. This symbolic tradition has survived throughout military history. Ladies and gentlemen, please welcome the outgoing commander, Colonel James Cheatham.
Thank you, everyone, for attending that's here today, for attending the ceremony. This is a significant and exciting occasion for Colonel Newton and her family, and a proud moment in the long-standing military tradition of the change of command that was just read. I extend my sincere congratulations to Colonel Newton and her family on this achievement, and I look forward to working alongside you in the future. To wing leadership, both present and past, I thank you for the opportunity to lead the Mission Support Group, an organization with talented people full of silent warriors. Sammy and family, thank you for your support always. You've always been right there during various leadership journeys. And I thank you for always being my number one fan. To the men and women of the Mission Support Group, just under 2 years ago, I stood right here and made a call to you, a challenge to score and score often, for our enemies are always keeping score. Today, I can say that you rallied to that call, and would like to share some examples of your ability to score. Security Forces delivering an outstanding multi-million-dollar shooting complex essential to qualifying personnel ready to go to the fight. COM elevating their cybersecurity posture to the top 5 across the Guard. The EI unit winning the Outstanding EI Unit Award across Expeditionary Cyberspace Squadrons. FSS securing back-to-back Disney Award winners and streamlining various HR processes. LRS bringing us a multi-million-dollar POL facility, cutting refueling times, posturing us to execute the fight. And CE designing multiple facilities, some of those already mentioned, and a new one coming down the pike in the Airmen's Center. These achievements ensure that we maintain a decisive advantage over our adversaries in their attempt to close the gap. Colonel Newton, I can say the MSG is ready. They're ready to win daily the mission, and they're ready for your leadership for the future. It has been my distinct honor to lead this group. I will never forget that, and I ask that you never forget that your job matters. And one last time, I say and encourage to you, score and score often. Strength and honor.
Thank you, Colonel Cheatham. Colonel Cheatham will now receive his final salute from the group. Now would Colonel Rutman and Colonel Newton please join Colonel Cheatham on stage for the change of command. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the change of command. The 138th Mission Support Group flag is entrusted to Chief Master Sergeant Amber Feaker, with the passing of the guidon symbolically expressing the special trust and responsibility afforded to the command's enlisted members. Attention to orders. Under the provisions of AFI 51-604, Special Order Number AP 3194, Colonel Cheatham relinquishes command of the 138th Mission Support Group to Colonel Newton, effective 12 April 2026. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. It is my pleasure to introduce the new commander, 138th Mission Support Group, Colonel Susan S. Newton.
Next time I will bring a stool. Thank you all for being here today. I am humbled to be standing in front of you. Promotions are never an individual accomplishment. They're the result of leaders, coworkers, and mentors who invest in you along the way. Thank you to our leadership, Colonel Rutman, Colonel Horton, Colonel Cheatham, who placed trust in me and gave me the opportunity to serve at this level. Your confidence and belief in me mean a great deal, and I do not take this opportunity and responsibility lightly. To the mentors and leaders who guided me throughout my career and couldn't be here today, thank you. I've been fortunate to learn from some incredible people. One thing that I've come to appreciate more over the years is the power of relationships. I would not be here today if not for our dear friends, Kim and Ryan, who connected us with their friend, Lieutenant Colonel Christy Heidi. So thank you, Kim and Christy. Special thanks to Brigadier General Meeson and retired Colonel Kavanaugh for taking a chance on hiring me 6 years ago. I want to thank all of our friends and family who are here today and who have walked alongside us through this journey. Thank you for your support, your laughter, and your friendship. It's meant so much to us and to our family. Thank you to the Beaver Babes for your friendship and support. Special thanks who came from out of town in this weather, folks from the JFHQ office, and Chief McAndrews and his wife, and Captain Russ Bellamy. Oh, he did not actually make it, I don't think. But thanks for thinking about coming. Thank you to my family, my husband, who has always supported my career, and my boys, Zach and Jake. You Newton boys are the light of my life. Being promoted to colonel is both an incredible honor and a tremendous responsibility. This rank isn't about status, it's about being trusted to lead larger organizations, develop the next generation of leaders, and ensure we accomplish a mission in an increasingly complex world. Over the years, I've come to believe strongly in a simple philosophy that has guided me throughout my career, and that's to over-deliver. Do more than what is expected. One of my favorite quotes is from the book, The Go-Giver, and it says, "Your true worth is determined by how much more you give in value than you take in payment." Over-delivering isn't about working longer hours or burning people out. It's about a mindset of ownership, accountability, and refusing to settle for good enough. It's the airman who solves the problem before it becomes someone else's crisis. The NCO who mentors the next generation because they know the mission depends upon it. The senior NCO who clears obstacles so their team can succeed, and the officer who builds partnerships and relationships that strengthen the entire organization. When you constantly over-deliver, you build something that rank alone can't give, and that's trust, credibility, and relationships. As I step into this next chapter and have the privilege of serving as Mission Support Group Commander, I'm excited about what this team will continue to accomplish and how they will take Mission Support Group to the next level. My expectation for this group is simple. We will over-deliver, not because someone asks us to, but because that's who we are, and we will continue to build strong relationships across this wing, and we will execute the mission far beyond expectations. This promotion represents the influence and investment of many people in this room and many who couldn't be here today. I'm excited about the future, and I'm grateful for every one of you. It's an honor to serve alongside you. Thank you. Strength and honor.
Thank you. Colonel Newton will now receive her first salute from the Mission Support Group. The men and women of the 138th Fighter Wing congratulate Colonel Newton and her family as she assumes her new duties as the commander of the 138th Mission Support Group. Ladies and gentlemen, please rise for the playing of the Air Force song and departure of the official party. Ladies and gentlemen, this concludes today's change of command ceremony. Please join us for a short reception in the fire station. Thank you for attending and we wish you a pleasant day.